the Vimalakirti Sutra Ch.5 Mañjuśrī's Call on Vimalakirti. The Buddha then said to Mañjuśrī, "You call on Vimalakirti to inquire after his health." Mañjuśrī said,
"World-honored one, he is a man of superior wisdom, and it is not easy to match him in eloquence, for he has reached reality, and is a skillful expounder of the essentials of the Dharma. His power of speech is unhindered, and his wisdom is boundless. He is well versed in all matters pertaining to bodhisattva development, for he has entered the mysterious treasury of all Buddhas. He has overcome all demons, has achieved all transcendental powers, and has realized wisdom by ingenious devices. Nevertheless, I will obey the holy command and will call on him to inquire after his health."
The bodhisattvas, the chief disciples of the Buddha, and the rulers of the four heavens who were present, thought to themselves,
"As the two Mahasattvas will be meeting, they will certainly discuss the profound Dharma."
So 8,000 bodhisattvas, 500 Shravakas, and hundreds and thousands of devas wanted to follow Mañjuśrī. So Mañjuśrī, reverently surrounded by the bodhisattvas, the Buddha's chief disciples, and the devas, made for Vaisali town. Vimalakirti, who knew in advance that Mañjuśrī and his followers would come, used his transcendental powers to empty his house of all attendants and furniture except a sickbed. When entering the house, Mañjuśrī saw only Vimalakirti lying on a sickbed, and was greeted by the Upasaka, who said, "Welcome, Mañjuśrī. You come with no idea of coming, and you see with no idea of seeing." Mañjuśrī replied,
"It is so, Venerable Upasaka. Coming should not be further tied to the idea of coming, and going should not be further linked with the concept of going. Why? Because there is neither winds to come nor whither to go, and that which is visible cannot further be an object of seeing. Now, let us put all this aside. Venerable Upasaka, is your illness bearable? Would it get worse with the wrong treatment? The world-honored one sends me to inquire after your health and is anxious to have good news of you. Venerable Upasaka, where does your illness come from? How long has it arisen? And how would it come to an end?"
Vimalakirti replied, "Stupidity leads to love, which is the origin of my illness. Because all living beings are subject to illness, I am ill as well. When all living beings are no longer ill, my illness will come to an end. Why? A bodhisattva, because of his vow to save living beings, enters the realm of birth and death, which is subject to illness. If they are all cured, the bodhisattva will no longer be ill. For instance, when the only son of an elder falls ill, so do his parents, and when he recovers his health, so do they. Likewise, a bodhisattva loves all beings as if they were his sons. So when they fall ill, the bodhisattva is also ill, and when they recover, he is no longer ill." Mañjuśrī asked,
"What is the cause of a bodhisattva's illness?"
Vimalakirti replied, "A bodhisattva's illness comes from his great compassion." Mañjuśrī asked,
"Why is the Venerable Upasaka's house empty and without servants?"
Vimalakirti replied, "All Buddha lands are also void." Mañjuśrī asked,
"Of what is the Buddha land foiled?"
Vimalakirti replied, "It is void of voidness." Mañjuśrī asked,
"Why should voidness be void?"
Vimalakirti replied, "Voidness is void in the absence of discrimination." Mañjuśrī asked,
"Can voidness be subject to discrimination?"
Vimalakirti replied, "All discrimination is also void." Mañjuśrī asked,
"Where can voidness be sought?"
Vimalakirti replied, "It should be sought in the 62 false views." Manjushri asked,
Where should the 62 false views be sought?
Vimalakirti replied, They should be sought in the liberation of all Buddhas. Manjushri asked,
Where should the liberation of all Buddhas be sought?
Vimalakirti replied, It should be sought in the minds of all living beings. He continued, The virtuous one has also asked why I have no servants. Well, all demons and heretics are my servants. Why? Because demons like the state of birth and death, which the Bodhisattva does not reject, whereas heretics delight in false views, in the midst of which the Bodhisattva remains unmoved. Manjushri asked,
What form does the Venerable Upasaka's illness take?
Vimalakirti replied, My illness is formless and invisible. Manjushri asked,
Is it an illness of the body or of the mind?
Vimalakirti replied, It is not an illness of the body, for it is beyond body, and it is not that of the mind, for the mind is like an illusion. Manjushri asked,
Of the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, which one is ill?
Vimalakirti replied, It is not an illness of the element of earth, but it is not beyond it. It is the same with the other elements of water, fire, and air. Since the illness of all living beings originate from the 4 elements which cause them to suffer, I am ill too. Manjushri then asked,
What should a bodhisattva say when comforting another bodhisattva who falls ill?
Vimalakirti replied, He should speak of the impermanence of the body, but never of the abhorrence and relinquishment of the body. He should speak of the suffering body, but never of the joy in nirvana. He should speak of egolessness in the body, while teaching and guiding all living beings in spite of the fact that they are fundamentally non-existent in the absolute state. He should speak of the voidness of the body, but should never cling to the ultimate nirvana. He should speak of repentance of past sins, but should avoid slipping into the past. Because of his own illness, he should take pity on all those who are sick. Knowing that he has suffered during countless past eons, he should think of the welfare of all living beings. He should think of his past practice of good virtues to uphold his determination for right livelihood. Instead of worrying about troubles or klesha, he should give rise to zeal and devotion in his practice of the Dharma. He should act like a king physician to cure others' illnesses. Thus, a bodhisattva should comfort another sick bodhisattva to make him happy. Manjushri asked,
How does a sick bodhisattva control his mind?
Vimalakirti replied, A sick bodhisattva should think thus.
My illness comes from inverted thoughts and troubles or klesha during my previous lives, but it has no real nature of its own. Therefore, who is suffering from it? Why is it so? Because when the 4 elements unite to form a body, the former are ownerless and the latter is egoless. Moreover, my illness comes from my clinging to an ego. Hence, I should wipe out this clinging.
Now that he knows the source of his illness, he should forsake the concept of an ego and a living being. He should think of things or Dharma thus.
A body is created by the union of all sorts of dharmas or elements, which alone rise and fall, without knowing one another and without announcing their rise and fall.
In order to wipe out the concept of things or dharmas, a sick bodhisattva should think thus.
This notion of Dharma is also an inversion, which is my great calamity, so I should keep from it.
What is to be kept from? From both subject and object. What does the keeping from subject and object mean? It means keeping from dualities. What does this keeping from dualities mean? It means not thinking of inner and outer dharmas, that is, contraries, by the practice of impartiality. What is impartiality? It means equality of all contraries, such as ego and nirvana. Why is it so? Because both ego and nirvana are void. Why are both void? Because they exist only by names which have no independent nature of their own. When you achieve this equality, you are free from all illnesses, but there remains the conception of voidness, which also is an illusion, which should be wiped out as well. A sick bodhisattva should free himself from the conception of sensation when experiencing any one of its three states, which are painful, pleasurable, and neither painful nor pleasurable feeling. Before his full development into Buddhahood, that is, before delivering all living beings in his own mind, he should not wipe out sensation for his own benefit with a view to attaining nirvana for himself only. Knowing that the body is subject to suffering, he should think of living beings in the lower realms of existence and give rise to compassion for them. Since he has succeeded in controlling his false views, he should guide all living beings to bring theirs under control as well. He should uproot their inherent illnesses without trying to wipe out non-existent dharmas, externals, or sense data. For he should teach them how to cut off the origin of illnesses. What is the origin of illnesses? It is their clinging which causes their illnesses. What are the objects of their clinging? They are the three realms of desire, form, and beyond form. By what means should they cut off their clinging? By means of the doctrine that nothing whatsoever can be found, and that, if nothing can be found, there will be no clinging. What is meant by nothing can be found? It means that, apart from dual views, there is nothing else that can be had. What are dual views? They are inner and outer views beyond which there is nothing. Mañjuśrī. This is how a sick bodhisattva should control his mind. To wipe out suffering from old age, illness, and death is the bodhisattva's bodhi or enlightened practice. If he fails to do so, his practice lacks wisdom and is unprofitable. For instance, a bodhisattva is called courageous if he overcomes hatred. If, in addition, he wipes out the concept of old age, illness, and death, he is a true bodhisattva. A sick bodhisattva should again reflect,
since my illness is neither real nor existing, the illnesses of all living beings are also unreal and non-existent.
But while so thinking, if he develops a great compassion derived from his love for living beings and from his attachment to this false view, he should immediately keep from these feelings. Why is it so? Because a bodhisattva should wipe out all external causes of troubles while developing great compassion. For this love and these wrong views result from hate of birth and death. If he can keep from this love and these wrong views, he will be free from hatred, and wherever he may be reborn, he will not be hindered by love and wrong views. His next life will be free from obstructions, and he will be able to expound the Dharma to all living beings and free them from bondage. As the Buddha has said, there is no such thing as untying others when one is still held in bondage, for it is possible to untie others only after one is free from bonds. Therefore, a bodhisattva should not tie himself up with wrong views. What is tying and what is untying? Clinging to serenity or dhyana is a bodhisattva's bondage, but his expedient rebirth for the salvation of others is freedom from bondage. Further, he is held in bondage by wisdom, which lacks expedient methods, or upaya, but is liberated by wisdom supported by expedient devices. He is also held in bondage by expedient methods which are not upheld by wisdom, but is liberated by expedient methods backed by wisdom. What is bondage by wisdom unsupported by expedient methods? It is bondage caused by the Bodhisattva's desire to embellish the Buddha land with merits in order to bring living beings to perfection while practicing for his self-control the three gates to nirvana, namely voidness, formlessness, and inactivity. This is called bondage by wisdom unsupported by expedient methods. What is liberation by wisdom backed by expedient methods? It is liberation achieved in the absence of desire to embellish the Buddha land with merits in order to bring living beings to perfection while practicing unremittingly for his self-control the three gates to nirvana, namely voidness, formlessness, and inactivity. This is called liberation by wisdom supported by expedient methods, or upaya. What is bondage by expedient methods unsupported by wisdom? It is bondage caused by a bodhisattva's lack of determination to keep from desire, anger, perverse views, and other troubles while planting all wisdom roots. This is called bondage by expedient methods which lack wisdom. What is liberation by expedient methods sustained by wisdom? It is liberation won by a bodhisattva who keeps from desire, anger, and perverse views and other troubles while planting all virtuous roots which he dedicates to his realization of supreme enlightenment. This is called liberation by expedient methods sustained by wisdom. Manjushri, a sick bodhisattva should look into all things in this way. He should further meditate on his body, which is impermanent, is subject to suffering, and is non-existent and egoless. This is called wisdom. Although his body is sick, he remains in the realm of birth and death for the benefit of all living beings without complaint. This is called expedient method, or upaya. He should further meditate on the body which is inseparable from illness and on illness which is inherent in the body, because sickness and the body are neither new nor old. This is called wisdom. The body, though ill, is not to be annihilated. This is the expedient method for remaining in the world to work for salvation. Manjushri, a sick bodhisattva should thus control his mind while dwelling in neither the state of controlled mind nor its opposite, that of uncontrolled mind. For if he dwells in the state of uncontrolled mind, this is stupidity. And if he dwells in that of controlled mind, this is the Shravaka stage. Hence, a bodhisattva should not dwell in either, and so keep from both. This is the practice of the bodhisattva stage. When staying in the realm of birth and death, he keeps from its impurity, and when dwelling in nirvana, he keeps from its condition of extinction of reincarnation and escape from suffering. This is the practice of the bodhisattva stage. That which is neither worldly nor saintly is bodhisattva development into Buddhahood. That which is neither impure nor pure is bodhisattva practice. Although he is beyond the demonic state, he appears in the world to overcome demons. This is bodhisattva conduct. In his quest of all knowledge, he does not seek it at an inappropriate moment. This is bodhisattva conduct. Although he looks into the uncreate, he does not achieve Buddhahood. This is bodhisattva conduct. Although he looks into Nidana, or the 12 links in the chain of existence, he enters all states of perverse views to save living beings. This is bodhisattva conduct. Although he helps all living beings, he does not give rise to clinging. This is bodhisattva conduct. Although he keeps from the phenomenal, he does not lean on the voidness of body and mind. This is bodhisattva conduct. Although he passes through the three worlds of desire, form, and beyond form, he does not injure the Dharmata. This is the bodhisattva conduct. Although he realizes the voidness of things, he sows the seeds of all merits. This is the Bodhisattva conduct. Although he dwells in formlessness, he continues delivering living beings. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he refrains from creative activities, he appears in his physical body. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he keeps all thoughts from arising, he performs all good deeds. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 6 perfections, or paramitas, he knows all the mental states of living beings. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he possesses the 6 supernatural powers, he refrains from putting an end to all worldly streams. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 4 infinite states of mind, he does not wish to be reborn in the Brahma heavens. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices meditation, serenity, liberation, and samadhi, he does not avail himself of these to be reborn in dhyana heavens. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 4-fold state of mindfulness, he does not keep forever from the karma of body and mind. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 4 right efforts, he persists in physical and mental zeal and devotion. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 4 Hinayana steps to supernatural powers, he will continue doing so until he achieves all Mahayana supernatural powers. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 5 spiritual faculties of the Shravaka stage, he discerns the sharp and dull potentialities of living beings. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 5 powers of the Shravaka stage, he strives to achieve the 10 powers of the Buddha. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 7 Hinayana degrees of enlightenment, he discerns the Buddha's all-wisdom. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the 8-fold noble truth of Hinayana, he delights in treading the Buddha's boundless path. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices samatha vipassana, which contributes to the realization of bodhi or enlightenment, he keeps from slipping into nirvana. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he practices the doctrine of not creating and not annihilating things, or Dharma, he still embellishes his body with the excellent physical marks of the Buddha. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he appears as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha, he does not stray from the Buddha Dharma. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he has realized ultimate purity, he appears in bodily form to do his work of salvation. This is a Bodhisattva conduct. Although he sees into all Buddha lands, which are permanently still like space, he causes them to appear in their purity and cleanness. This is Bodhisattva conduct. Although he has reached the Buddha stage, which enables him to turn the wheel of the law, that is, to preach the Dharma, and to enter the state of nirvana, he does not forsake the Bodhisattva path. This is Bodhisattva conduct. While Vimalakirti was expounding the Dharma, all the 8,000 sons of Devas who had come with Manjushri developed the profound mind set on the quest of supreme enlightenment, or Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi.